Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tom Rossiello, the minister of this congregation, and it is wonderful to be with you again as we continue our exploration of this rich season of light. We're so glad that you're with us this morning, either in person or on Zoom. If you're visiting with us here at the Allende and are willing to be recognized, we'd love to ask you to stand so that we can see you and be able to greet you after the service. Any visitors here today? Oh, lots, yes. To all our members, please take the time to greet our guests at the service. It's so easy to get into conversation with your friends, but I want to remind you that we are a welcoming congregation. Just last week, one of our guests told me that no one talked to them at coffee hour. Let's not let that happen again. I know it's the bazaar after the service, so please, in your shopping, make our guests feel welcome. Also, a significant part of our community is on Zoom every Sunday. If you're visiting with us online, please type your name and where you're from, maybe how you know about us into the chat, so our Zoom host can greet you after the service. I want to extend a very special welcome to our guest minister, the Reverend Kathleen Rolenz, an incredibly experienced UU minister who has served our faith tradition for 30 years. She recently retired from full-time ministry, although I'm not sure about that either, having known that not to work too well myself. But prior to her retirement, she served as Interim Senior Minister at 5 congregations in Wisconsin, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Minnesota, and most recently at the famous All Souls Church in New York City. Prior to her work as interim, she and her lovely husband, the Reverend Wayne Arnason, who you heard from last week, and will also be helping her in the service today, were co-ministers in Cleveland, Ohio. She's the co-author of Worship That Works, editor of the Christian Voices in Unitarian Universalism, Sources of Our Faith, and Unitarian Universalism and the 12 Steps. She lives in her forever home with Wayne in Charlottesville, Virginia. All you have to do is walk down the streets of San Miguel at night, and you cannot help but be reminded that we are celebrating a season of light. Again, this week, we will draw from the traditions that celebrate light in this season. But apart from the season of light, every week we begin our service celebrating the light. We light a flaming chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. And we often say that we do so from a spark of light that burns in each of us. And again today, and for the next few weeks, we're going to light our chalice in a very special way. And that is with a spark that comes to us from a member of our fellowship that is joining us via Zoom. And today that spark will come from Pat Laird, who, after a very tough case of pneumonia, went back with her daughter to recover in Texas. And we're so glad that she is able to bring us the light today. After she passes the light to us, Susan will light our chalice, and we will join in the chalice lighting response words that are printed in your order of service and on our screen.
Good morning from Smithville, Texas. I'm happy to light a candle for the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende Zoom service.
And join me. Candles, fire, and stars. These are the symbols of this most blessed season. Candles for the banishing of darkness, fire to warm hearth and home, stars to beckon us, guiding our footsteps to the holiest. And now, from our chalice flame, our children are going to help me light some candles of the season, and Reverend Kathleen and Ann Geyer are going to share a bit of story that's associated with each of them.
First, I just want to add my gratitude for the generous welcome that Wayne and I have received at this fellowship. We came here 2.5 years ago, and we're just so delighted to find this fellowship. And gratitude also for the wonderful hospitality that Tom and Malcolm and all those who made this service possible. I'd like to invite Ann Geyer up now to share with me in this candle lighting of these candles of this season, the menorah and the Advent wreath. Alrighty. So this morning's prelude was a song from the Disney musical Encanto. And this song was sung by a young girl, Miranda, who says, "I am waiting on a miracle. I would heal what's broken. Bless me now as you blessed us all those years ago when you gave us a miracle."
El preludio de esta mañana era una canción de la película musical de Disney, Encanto. La canción la canta una niña, Miranda, que dice, estoy esperando un milagro. Sanaría lo que está roto. Bendíceme ahora como nos bendijiste hace tantos años, cuando nos diste un milagro.
Today, we ignite the first candle of the menorah to remember a miracle experienced by the Jewish people over 2,000 years ago.
Hoy encendemos la primera vela de la menorá para recordar un milagro que vivió el pueblo judío hace más de 2,000 años.
The miracle was that brave Jewish warriors won back their holy temple from a bad king. But when they got to the temple, it was a big mess. They wanted to light their special candle to remember their sacred space, but there was a problem. They found only one tiny jar of oil, only enough for one day. But they lit the menorah anyway, and the oil burned miraculously for 8 whole days.
El milagro fue que los valientes guerreros judíos recuperaron su templo sagrado de manos de los malvados reyes. Pero cuando llegaron al templo, lo encontraron hecho un desastre. Querían encender su vela especial para recordar su espacio sagrado, pero había un problema. Encontraron un pequeño frasco de aceite, solo suficiente para un día. Sin embargo, encendieron la menorá de todos modos y el aceite ardió milagrosamente durante 8 días enteros.
This evening marks the beginning of Hanukkah, which remembers this special event among the Jewish people. It symbolizes light against darkness and courage to stand up against unfairness and bullying.
Esta noche marca el inicio de Hanukkah, que conmemora este acontecimiento especial entre el pueblo judío. Simboliza la luz de la oscuridad y el valor para enfrentarse a la injusticia y al acoso.
This morning, we will also light the candles of Advent.
Esta mañana también encendemos las velas de Adviento.
In ancient times, candles were mounted on wagon wheels that were decorated with evergreens. They were lit during the dark weeks leading up to the winter solstice, when the return of the light was celebrated.
En la antigüedad, las velas se montaban sobre ruedas de carreta, decorados con hoja de perenne. Fueron encendidos durante las semanas oscuras previas al solsticio de invierno, cuando se celebraba el regreso de la luz.
Christians adopted a similar tradition of lighting candles during the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, celebrating the light that Jesus brought into the world.
Los cristianos adoptaron una tradición similar de encender velas durante las 4 semanas previas a la Navidad, celebrando la luz que Jesús trajo al mundo.
Each candle stands for one of the messages of the Advent season. There are 3 purple candles and 1 pink. This is the 3rd Sunday of Advent, and we will light 3 purple candles. The first purple candle is for hope. Hope that uplifts our spirits. Hope that gives us courage to those experiencing difficult times. Hope that we claim for ourselves, and the hope we bring to others in this season.
Cada vela representa uno de los mensajes de la temporada de Adviento. Hay 3 velas moradas y una rosa. Este es el tercer domingo de Adviento. Encendemos la primera vela morada por la esperanza. Esperanza que nos levante el ánimo, por una esperanza que da valor a quienes atraviesan tiempos difíciles. Esperanza que reivindicamos para nosotros y la esperanza que llevamos a los demás en esta temporada.
The second purple candle is for peace. Peace in our hearts and in our homes, peace in our country and our world, for the peace of which the Christmas angels sang.
Encendemos la segunda vela morada por la paz. Esperanza que nos levante el ánimo, por una esperanza que da valor a quienes atraviesan tiempos difíciles. Esperanza que reivindicamos para nosotros, la esperanza que llevamos a los demás en esta temporada.
The third purple candle is for love. Love for those we know so well, and love for those whom we have never met. The love that Jesus taught, love for stranger, for the poor, the downtrodden, the love that heals all wounds and puts to flight all fears.
La tercera vela morada es para el amor. Amor por los que conocemos muy bien y por los que nunca hemos conocido. El amor que Jesús enseñó, el amor por el extranjero y los pobres, los pisoteados, el amor que cura todas las heridas y ayunta todos los miedos.
So let's join now together in singing our children on their way, vayan en paz.
Good morning. Each Sunday, we recite together the covenant of this UU fellowship, one that the fellowship itself wrote. I don't know how many years ago, but it was crafted by Unitarian Universalists, and it's a promise we make to each other and to ourselves. So if you can stand, willing or able, we will recite first in English and then in Spanish, and the words are in your order of service and on the screen. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and that benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant. Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
We have two menorahs today, and I just wanted to light the one behind, recognize it's a gift several years ago from the wonderful artist Diana Thornhill Miller, who also made the mandala, and it sort of all fits together, but it's a little bit too high for the kids to reach to light that one, so we transferred it that way. We are truly a caring community. We do our best to strive to be that beloved community of which we speak so often. Each week, we share significant joys, sorrows, and concerns with the hope that by doing so, our hearts are opened to help and reach out to others. And for each joy, sorrow, or concern, we light a candle indicating that that person, or that thought, or that prayer is held by all of us this morning. If you wish to have a joy, sorrow, or concern shared in an upcoming service, please email it to me. If you're going to be here, there are cards that you can fill out that the ushers have at the front. I'd be happy to help you with that. And if you're on Zoom and wish to share today, you may please type it into the chat. Diego will let me know if there are any that come in that way. I'd like to light our first candle for Jim Harper, who continues to recover at home after stroke, and also for Betsy, his wonderful partner. Keep them both in your thoughts and prayers. We light a candle of concern, but more sending wonderful, wonderful good thoughts to Bill Dulcimer, who is in the hospital in New York in intensive care and struggling. But we send him every warm wish that we can. Okay. We have a joy. It's Peter Soli's birthday today, so let's have a birthday candle. I don't know if Peter's, there he is in the back. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We have another joy, or two or three. This one is our buddy Sebastian, who's already gone back to the class, but he's joyful that it's almost Christmas and the winter break is here. So, one from Diana Amaya. Today is her last Sunday at UU for 2025. She's going to be traveling, and that she'll miss everybody, and wishes everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. This one's a little embarrassing because I'm in it. It's a joy that says thank you to Reverend Tom Rossiello and our women's group, Mis Hermanas, for this morning's celebration, for this moving celebration for their sister, Donna Schubert, yesterday. And that candle really is, from my perspective, in memory of Donna, who was such an important part of this fellowship. And we dedicated a little stone in the Guadiana Parkway for her, which is becoming the UU Memorial Garden, by the way. I think we have about 8 or 10 of them there now. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are not limited to just the personal concerns of our community. The first broader concern I want to light is for the 2 students that died and the 9 students that were injured in another senseless, violent shooting incident on a college campus. Let's hold them and that Brown University and all those affected by that in our hearts this morning. And another candle for the anti-Semitic, opposing the anti-Semitic violence, the attack on the Jewish community in Bondi Beach near Sydney, Australia, when they were having a Hanukkah celebration and 10 people were killed. We light another candle at this time of year, seeming especially appropriate for peace. That's our other large candle. We hold in our hearts all those who have been killed, injured, displaced, lost loved ones due to war, wherever that war was taking place. We pray for ceasefires to hold and a real and lasting peace in the Middle East, and for food and medical aid, shelter, all the things those suffering people need to reach them. And we pray for an end to the war in Ukraine with a fair and just peace, also for the end of the war in Sudan and other conflicts in Africa and Asia. We light our white, green, and red candle for the Mexican people. This is a gesture from those of us who are guests in our country wishing to express our gratitude to them for our welcome and hospitality. But it's also a candle of concern, where again this week, harsh U.S. policies hurting Mexicans and harsh, unjust treatment of Mexicans, as well as other immigrants, just continues to happen. We light our final candle for all those joys, sorrows, and concerns held deep in our hearts, but which remain unspoken this morning. I invite you now to join me in a time of prayer or reflection. Spirit of community, in which we share and find strength and common purpose. We turn our minds and hearts to one another, seeking to bring into our circle all who need our love and support. Those who are ill in body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. We renew our commitment to justice and fairness and compassion for all people. We acknowledge that we are part of the web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with the universe. May this time of shared joys, sorrows, and concerns lead us to a better understanding of our community and the precious gifts that we each possess that enable us to minister to each other and strengthen us in our resolve to live the values and principles of our faith tradition. Diego, do we have any?
Yes.
Okay. I'll light one more candle if I can find the final one. Oh, it's from Andrea Kaufman, who I tried to reach earlier this week, but she's having shoulder replacement surgery this coming Tuesday, and she asks for our prayers and support for Bonnie as well. And then there's more sweet memories for Donna. I think I got them all? Thank you. Okay. Now, if you'd like to light a silent candle giving witness to whatever you're holding in your hearts this morning, please come forward and meet Susan and I down front.
Our reading today is adapted from a poem by the celebrated poet of the Beat Generation, Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I am waiting for my case to come up, and I am waiting for a rebirth of wonder. And I am waiting for someone to really discover America and wail. And I am waiting for the discovery of a new symbolic Western frontier. And I am waiting for the American eagle to really spread its wings and straighten up and fly right. And I am waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead. And I am waiting for the war to be fought which will make the world safe for anarchy. And I am waiting for the final withering away of all governments. And I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. And I am waiting for my number to be called. And I am waiting for the Salvation Army to take over. And I am waiting for the meek to be blessed and inherit the earth without taxes. And I am waiting for forests and animals to reclaim the earth as theirs. And I am waiting for a way to be devised to destroy all nationalisms without killing anybody. And I am waiting for linnets and planets to fall like rain. And I am waiting for lovers and weepers to lie down together again in a new rebirth of wonder. And I am waiting to get some intimations of immortality by recollecting my early childhood. And I am waiting for the green mornings to come again. Youth's dumb green fields, come back again. And I am waiting for some strains of unpremeditated art to shake my typewriter. And I am waiting to write the great indelible poem. And I am waiting for the last long, careless rapture. And I am perpetually waiting for the fleeing lovers on the Grecian urn to catch each other up at last and embrace. And I am awaiting perpetually and forever a renaissance of wonder. We have a hymn at number 225 that I invite you to, as willing and able, rise in body or in spirit and sing, O come, Emmanuel. The words are on the screen or in your hymnal.
O come,
The walls were gray-green, the carpet beige, the chairs uncomfortable, and I was sitting in the lobby of my doctor's office, waiting. Although it was not even Thanksgiving yet, the Little Drummer Boy Christmas Carol had just begun its a-rumpa-pum-pum over the speakers, and there were about a half dozen strangers sitting with me in the office lobby that day. A white-haired man was quietly coughing in the corner. A woman with a wriggling toddler attempted to calm that toddler was splayed across her lap. A middle-aged man wearing a flannel shirt with rolled-up sleeves, torn jeans, long gray ponytail, and a time-worn face was sitting next to me. And it was obvious to me that I would be waiting there for quite some time, so I pulled out my laptop and tried to get online. Nobody was talking, but the man sitting next to me decided to break the silence by turning to me and saying, "Hey, little lady, how's it going?" Fine, I said, hoping he'd leave me alone, but he didn't. He started to chat about why he was there, describing in sometimes gruesome detail the motorcycle accident that he got into several years ago, and how he needed to see the doc every month for a checkup. Despite my giving him every indication that I was not interested in listening to his story, he kept talking, and I kept waiting for the simple miracle of that door opening, the nurse calling my name, and me getting out of that waiting room. We've all been there, right? Waiting for the coffee to brew, waiting for the car to start, the bus to arrive, the test results to come, waiting for the other shoe to drop, the fighting to cease, the grief to end. Maybe we're waiting for the honor and the recognition that we believe we deserve, for the acceptance letter to come, or maybe we're waiting for that miracle of new life to enter our lives and to change us forever. And in those moments, I, like the poet Lawrence Ferlinghetti, are perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. Now, there are many directions I could have gone this morning, especially with that Ferlinghetti poem, which my esteemed colleague read so well. Thank you. But I'm really looking at Advent as the season of waiting. And this time of year is known as the holiday season because so many religious holidays seem to be jam-packed into December. So last week, those of you who were here or watched on Zoom or have watched it later, you heard about Buddha's Enlightenment Day. Now, there is a study in patiently waiting, in that case for enlightenment. And this evening, of course, Jews will commemorate Hanukkah, a holiday less about waiting and more about the miracle of that precious oil lasting longer than just one day. And next Sunday, of course, the winter solstice, a time when I imagine our ancients would gather around fires to celebrate the slow return of the sun's warmth and light. And 2 Sundays ago, Christians and secular communities celebrated the beginning of Advent, anticipating the birth of Jesus on December 25th. So I like to think of this time of year, and particularly the season of Advent, sort of like not unlike turning on the lights in our home when we're expecting guests. Advent is the liturgical form of the word esperanza, to wait with hope. To wait with hope and anticipation, expecting the birth of Jesus as the light bringer, and his life, his birth and his life and his ministry serving as a reminder to us of those words echoed in the book of John 1:5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it. So in each of these scenarios, there's something that happens, right? At the end of all that waiting, Buddha gets enlightened. Yay, a baby gets born. Woohoo! The Maccabees overthrow their oppressors, and the earth slowly gets more of the sun's warmth and light every day until the summer solstice, when the whole process starts over again. Pretty ordinary stuff, right? So why call this sermon Waiting for a Miracle? Since we know all of these things have rational reasons behind them, why speak of miracles? And why passively wait for them? That's where spiritual and theological insights can arise that can help us to experience miracles that exist right under our noses. If we can slow our internal clock down, slow it down enough to see them. So, I'm still in that physician's waiting room. Remember that back there? And the coughing man has the remote in hand and is flipping through the channels to get to political pundits airing their opinions. And the toddler is bored and starts crying, this very loud, shrill cry that hurts my ears. And the man next to me pulls out his cigarettes. And then he remembers, oh, he can't smoke in here. And I think to myself, am I in hell? Or only in purgatory? The ultimate waiting room. Well, some of you that perhaps came from Catholic tradition knows that purgatory is described as a transitional state. It's intended as a place where you can kind of cleanse your soul before moving on to face the Almighty. But I'm more drawn to the concept of liminal space. Liminal from the Latin limen, meaning threshold. Liminal spaces are neither here nor there. They are those in-between spaces, like a hotel lobby, or the bar at the airport, or airports themselves. Liminal spaces. It's the ultimate twilight zone. As Unitarian Rod Serling puts it, it's the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition. And in some ways, the month of December feels like one big liminal space. There is a sense of anticipation this month, of leaving ordinary time and moving into holy time, marked by rites and rituals and disrupted routines. So this season of Advent reminds us that so much of life requires us to adopt a stance of attentive patience, whether we're a child, impatiently waiting for Christmas Day, or an adult, going about our daily routines, like sitting in the physician's office next to a stranger whom you would not ordinarily talk to. So, which doc are you waiting to see? The man next to me asked. What? I said, raising my head from the laptop. The man sitting next to me had asked me a question. He said, look, if you need physical therapy, I got the best doc in the world. Okay, thanks, I said. At this time, I really looked at him, and I glanced down at his arm on the armrest next to mine. And there, tattooed crudely on his forearm, were a set of hand-lettered numbers, 4, 30, 75. I put down my laptop and realized I really had nothing to do, and he seemed like he needed to talk, so I listened. He had broken almost every major bone in his body, except for his head, he told me. He survived cancer, 2 divorces, alcoholism, and unemployment. It's a miracle I'm still alive, he said. God must have some use for me yet. Now, I have to confess, I'm a mystical skeptic when it comes to claims of miraculous cures. I mean, the traditional view of miracles is that they are something that occurs outside, completely beyond the order of nature. St. Augustine believed that there was only one miracle, creation itself, and that all of nature and all natural processes are miraculous because they reflect the creative nature of God. I kind of like the 16th century monk, Martin Luther. He had another opinion about miracles. He said, all claims of miracles happening in his time were, quote, tomfoolery of the devil, devising for chasing people hither and yon, end quote. Earlier this fall, the President of the United States used his social media platform to suggest that a product called MedBed, which purports to cure every disease, regrow missing limbs, and reverse the human aging process, could one day soon be available to every citizen. And, as much as I may wish to reverse my own aging process, I laughed out loud at such a preposterous claim. Tomfoolery of the devil, I would say. And yet, an atheist friend of mine pointed out, isn't it equally preposterous to believe in virgin births, heavenly angels, and magi who follow a star to find a baby somewhere in Bethlehem without the benefit of Google Maps? You got a point, I conceded. But the kind of miracles I'm thinking about are our emotional response of gratitude for surviving seemingly hopeless circumstances. I know that no miracle will bring back people I love who have died. Nor do I believe that a supernatural miracle will end the war in Ukraine or rebuild Gaza. That's wishful thinking. That will take human work and human will. But for my seat companion in that waiting room, he chose to see his life as evidence that miracles can and do exist. Prior to the 19th century, our forebears believed that the miracles Jesus performed was proof of his divinity. But when Ralph Waldo Emerson and his colleagues came on the scene, they challenged that belief. Emerson wrote this, he said, quote, "Jesus spoke of miracles because he saw all of life as miraculous. Miracles appear to us as the eyes of our hearts are opened and we see clearly. All our life is a miracle. Ourselves are the greatest wonder of all. I can believe a miracle because I can raise my own arm. I can believe a miracle because I can speak and be understood by you. I can believe in a manifestation of power beyond my own because I am such a manifestation. There is not a minute in the 24 hours that is not filled with miracles." End quote. This is the theology that we 21st century moderns have inherited. And Emerson and the Transcendentalists reframe the way that Unitarian Universalists have come to understand miracles today as not as something supernatural, but real and practical, something available to all and not just a select few in a long ago time and a faraway land. Amidst the TV and the toddler and the little drummer boy, I heard a name being called. It was my seat companion's. Before he got up to leave, I asked him, "If you don't mind telling me, what do those numbers on your arm mean?" "Oh, these," he said. "Saigon, 1975. I was there. I'll never forget it." And then he smiled. He made a short salute with his hand. "Well, it was really nice talking with you." Later, I looked up the date just to confirm what I thought I already knew. It was the day known as the Fall of Saigon, the day that effectively ended the Vietnam War. It was chaotic. And given the chaos of that day and the fact that many lives were lost, I'd say it was something of a miracle that he survived that day. So something shifted inside of me that day in the waiting room. The to-do list, they disappeared, and I saw before me not a middle-aged man whose face showed the ravages of all that he'd been through, but someone who had walked through the metaphorical fire, earthquake, and wind, and it had not consumed or destroyed him. So what miracle are you waiting for this Advent season? Are you waiting, like Ferlinghetti, for a rebirth of wonder? Now, part of me argues a bit with Ferlinghetti, saying that I'm not going to simply passively wait for a rebirth of wonder that may never happen. I have to do something about it. Yet, I also know that when I can slow my mind and heart down, if I can meditate or pray without a desire for an outcome, ordinary miracles appear. A change of mind, a change of heart, a shift of consciousness, a new direction. You know, you don't have to look very far to find these miracles. I mean, when I consider the story of a woman, 9 months pregnant, riding on a donkey, and giving birth in the most unsanitary of places to a child who grew up to be one of the world's greatest spiritual teachers, I think that's something of a miracle. If I look closely at the miracles I hope for, they do show up, often not in the form I would choose or sometimes even can understand, but I have seen and experienced such miracles before, and I'll bet you have too. I have heard stories from those who have found their way from the bottom of the most seemingly of intractable of addictions, recover, leading lives of meaning and purpose by helping others recover from addiction. And I have sat with adults whose lives should be irrevocably ruined by childhood trauma, eventually able to heal from those wounds and find an inexplicable sense of serenity. I've mourned with those who have lost a life partner and have celebrated the miracle of finding new hope, new life, and yes, even sometimes new love after such a devastating loss. Oh, and you know what? More and more miracles keep coming. The more I think about them, miracles of friendship that have lasted for over half a century, miracles of modern science that have made it possible for people to live with new hips, knees, hearts, livers, kidneys, miracles of shattered lives, somehow able to rebuild when everything seemed lost. We can't take these miracles for granted because to do so would be like rejecting a gift that was selected for us. The poet Lynn Unger wrote, "It would take a miracle to carve such a solid life out of the shell of fear. But I say, you are the stuff from which miracles are made." The man that was coughing quietly in the corner had been seen, and he'd left. And Mom had turned the TV off, and the toddler was asleep on the chair. The little drummer boy had come and gone, thankfully. And now It Came Upon a Midnight Clear was playing on the background. And at last, my waiting was over. My name was called, and I was ushered into the inner sanctum of the doctor's office, and as I passed the rooms, I noticed a door was slightly ajar, and I noticed my waiting room companion sitting on the exam table, and he was raising one arm over his head with a look of utter delight on his face. He had gotten his miracle that day. So had I. "These are the days of miracle and wonder," sings Paul Simon in his song, "The Boy in the Bubble." The way we look to a distant constellation that's dying in the corner of the sky. These are the days of miracle and wonder. And don't cry, baby. Don't cry, don't cry. Maybe some version of that was sung by Mary to her newborn son. Maybe that's the same distant constellation those magi of long ago and far away saw, and not knowing where it might lead them, they could not help but follow. These are the days of miracle and wonder. When we behold faces in candlelight and lighting fires against the dark. These are the days of miracle and wonder, of waiting for the sun to return and the promise and hope that brings us one step closer to the vision of a world made fair, awaiting perpetually and forever, waiting with the poets, and with we ordinary human beings, waiting for that renaissance of wonder. May it be so. Amen. Let's rise in body and or spirit as willing and able and sing together our closing hymn, People Look East.
I need to find my little script. This is the time of our service that we call Time for Generosity. I'd like to share this short reading with you about that generosity and about how we say yes. There is no church without its people. We are this church. We are all it means inside these walls and all it stands for out in the world. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With these gifts, which we freely give and which are gratefully received, we say yes to the values of our Unitarian Universalist faith. May these gifts help us practice the Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our church. And we dedicate these gifts to the values and vision we share. We now gratefully receive your offerings.
Thank you, Kathleen, for your wonderful message and the worship experience you created. Thank you to our musicians who share their gifts with us. They donate this, and please thank them and support them in their endeavors. I'm a little bit self-serving here, but Malcolm has, with the chorale, Christmas concert Friday, and you can get tickets or more information from him. It's Friday and Saturday, yep. So you can do that also. But really, our musicians sometimes go so unnoticed, and they're such a critical part of our service. And a lot goes on during the week at this fellowship, from the Tuesday coffee hour to the Thursday luncheon games and much more. Check it all out on the website, where you can also find information on how to become a member of this wonderful fellowship if you are not already. This fellowship only exists because of your generosity. We receive no funds other than from our members and friends. And each year, we ask our members to make a pledge, and that simply is to tell us what they think they will be able to give in the next year, so that we, our board of directors, can create a more accurate budget. You do not have to pay a pledge now. In fact, pledge now and pay later is the motto of our treasurer, and you can pay over the course of the year. And of course, if your circumstances change and you have to change that figure, we understand. Now, we had a wonderful party to launch our pledge campaign, and most of those who attended made their pledge then. And 75% of those who did raised their pledge amount for next year. Thank you so much to everyone who has pledged. And for those who were not there or were not able to pledge that night, members of our board have been contacting you. Please understand that we have to do this to be fiscally responsible. And please, when they contact you, treat them well. No one likes to ask for money, but they're doing it so that we all can have the Sunday services and the many, sometimes miraculous, blessings that this fellowship provides in our life. And of course, if you are able to pledge, we hope you'll do so generously. But that brings me to the final and very important point. We have 11 members whose pledges are waived because they have little or no income. And we have another 29 who live on very limited income and pledge less than $100. Most of these people are involved in our community. They may be here on Sunday morning. Others are those whom our care team and our ministry and our Zoom services bring the fellowship to them. I believe we're honored to have them as part of our community. And for those of you who are in a position to do so, I'd like to invite you not necessarily to raise your pledge, but to make a gift to help cover some of the gap from what these other folks can't pledge, the gap between what they give and what really is the cost per person to have this fellowship. And you know what that is? Well, if you figure it out, the cost per person comes to a bit over $800 a year, around $15 a week. I think we get a lot for $15 a week. And I want those services to be available to everyone. So I want to challenge you, as you can, for the end of this pledge drive, to maybe give a gift to help cover the costs for those who cannot pledge or can only pledge a very small amount. This is the season of giving, and to me it seems like an excellent kind of gift to give. Malcolm and I are going to give a gift of $800 to cover one of those 40 people. Maybe some of you can do the same, or give a gift to cover just a portion. If you can, please see or contact our treasurer, Kathleen Nolan. Kathleen, are you here this morning? She's in the back. Or you can talk to me as well. I know you get a lot of appeals at this time of year. And because of Mexican law, we have to do our pledge drive and prepare our budget at this time also. I thank you for all your generosity. and for understanding that in no way do we do this to pressure you, but we want to invite you to do what you can do. And if we all do what we can do, it always works out. There's always enough. And now it's almost time for the bazaar. And I want to express such gratitude to Nora and all those people who helped make that possible. Almost time for some great holiday shopping, for goodies and gifts and all sorts of things await you. And this effort also helps our fellowship. But before we go, before we close our service, we always have a benediction, which I remind people is good words to take with us for the week ahead. And then after the benediction, please remain seated for a couple minutes for the postlude.
Although we extinguish this flame, we do not put an end to our light.
May the light of that which is eternal, the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment continue to glow within, among, and beyond us.
May it be so.